Well, hello there, little elfling. I understand that you've come to the training seminar because you are interested in someday being an employee of the North Pole's Wrapping Center. Well, it's definitely a wonderful goal to have, and hopefully I can help you get ready for that. Wrapping is, of course, one of the most important parts of Santa's toy shop. Those who make all the toys are the ones that get most of the publicity, but of course, those toys would not be half as much fun if they were delivered unwrapped. So, every elf who does wrapping here at the North Pole is just as important as every elf putting together the toys themselves. So, you're already very good at wrapping? You'd like to give me a demonstration? Okay, certainly. Go right ahead. Oh, okay, yes, that's very cute, but we're not talking about that kind of wrapping, of course. I believe Santa forbid that at the North Pole after the one group of elves spent 24/7 wrapping through the halls and drove everyone nuts. So, save that kind of wrapping for your free time, and we'll focus now on the wrapping of the toys, okay? So, of course, obviously, papers are one of the basics of wrapping, and at a later date, you're going to learn how to make the various kinds of papers. This is one of my favorites, the plain brown paper, which has kind of a rustic feel. We make this by grinding up the shed antlers of reindeer. You know, when they shed their antlers, we go through and gather them up and grind them up and make them into a pulp and create this luxurious brown paper for wrapping. But paper making is a little more labor intensive, so being your first seminar, I don't know if you're quite ready for that yet, so why don't we start with another important part of the wrapping process, ribbons. Now, here at the North Pole, we of course make all of our own ribbons, and each type of ribbon is made of a slightly different material, and the designs are created using a variety of substances that produce different colors when added to the ribbons. So, why don't we start with the basic? This is just your standard red ribbon. Can't go wrong with one of these. This will match almost any paper that you wrap a package in. And this one is fairly simple to make. Yes, as I'm going through these ribbons, I would like you to choose the ones that you would be interested in making, and we will certify you in making those particular ribbons for the workshop, okay? Okay, so back to the ribbon. Very basic red ribbon, and this is made from the fur of the Arctic fox. Oh, of course, no harm comes to the foxes to make these. The way we gather the fur is when we find one of the fox's dens. Generally, when they're coming in and out of the den, they end up scraping the entrance, and there's always quite a pile of fur there. So we bring it back to the workshop, and, we just collect it and bring it back, and then we process it with a little elvish magic, of course, and it becomes a lovely string of ribbon, which is just perfect for taking the bright red berry dye. So when it reacts with the oils in the fox fur, it gives it that brilliant red color, and that's how we make that ribbon. Do you think that's something you'd be interested in making? That one sounds like fun to you? Okay, we will qualify you for that one. Let's see. Okay, so next up, this one, a little more difficult, not quite as bright red. So this one is also made with fox fur, and instead of berries, this one is made from the leaves of one of the plants on the tundra, which I will eventually be taking you out to the tundra and showing you all of these plants you'll need to gather for this if you decide to make this one. It's a little bit of a walk to get there, but you know, we have our special elvish speed, so nothing too bad. And when the dye, or the juice from that plant's leaves, hits the fox fur, it interacts and creates a slightly darker red dye than the berry red. You can kind of see the difference here. So it's amazing how different substances react to create different colors. And then the white is created, this, much like the paper, is created from the shed antlers of reindeer. So when they shed their antlers, we go and we pick those up and grind them up and mix them with water to create this lovely white pigment, and we hand paint all the designs on it. So in this case, that is the reindeer ribbon, and there's a few snowflakes in between there, just kind of a nice wintry scene. You do have to have a little bit of artistic talent to be qualified to make this one. Do you think this is something that you'd be interested in doing? Your painting skills really aren't that great? Okay, well in that case, maybe we'll skip that one, okay? And we'll just set that one over there and see what else we have. Okay, now this is a really fun design. So these are, you know, the images of our cousins, the gnomes, because obviously we are, of course, distant cousins with the gnomes. We're just a little bit taller. And this particular ribbon, that lovely gray color, is made by collecting polar bear fur, the same way that the fox fur is collected, right outside the den. And again, bring it back to the workshop, mix it up with a little bit of elvish magic, and weave it into this beautiful gray ribbon. Occasionally, it turns out white, but usually we can get it gray because the way the polar bears kind of rub against the rocks when they enter their dens does turn the shed fur gray, which is how we get that lovely gray color here. The little gnome hats are created with some of that bright red berry dye from the first ribbon, and the white is again created from the ground up reindeer antlers. And then the little gnome noses are created by digging through the snow and grabbing a little bit of the earth in between. When it reacts with the polar bear fur, it just kind of lightens it a little bit, and so that's how we make that cute little design. Again, a little bit of artistic talent, but probably a little bit easier to create than the reindeer ribbon. You think you'd enjoy creating that one? Okay, great. We'll just set that one over there, and we will qualify you for that as well. Okay, now, what else do we have? Okay, so this is kind of a lovely shade. This ribbon is a black base, and the way we get that dye is when the seals come up out of the ocean and they rub themselves against the rocks or the icebergs. There's usually some oil left on the rocks, and we collect that, and it makes this wonderful dark black dye. And that's how we create this lovely ribbon. So of course, no seals are harmed in the making of this. And then the green is created by crushing up various plants and painting that on there. And of course the red berries are the bright red berry dye, and the white is once again the ground up reindeer horn. Fairly simple to paint. The leaves, we actually have a stamp that we use to stamp them on, so no artistic talent necessary for this one. You'd like to make that one as well? Alright. Put you down for the black holly ribbon. And let's see. Oh, here we go. We'll go with a classic. Now this one here, it's the black and red check. Very festive. So this one, because we have to use multiple colors, this one is a base woven from shed snowy owl feathers. So it gives us a nice bright white base. Yes, once again, collect the shed feathers. No owls are harmed in the process. Bring them back to the workshop. Put them through our little magic machine. Give them a little elvish magic. And weave them together to create a nice base ribbon. And then these squares are individually painted on using berry dye and the seal oil dye. That one's not exciting enough for you to paint? Okay, no problem. We'll just find something else here. Here we go. Now this one here, much like the black and red check, this one's a nice little red and green plaid, kind of a tartan, if you will. And this one is made the same way as the black and red checked because it has to accept so many different colors. So once again, snowy owl feathers woven together, and then the berry red dye, and the green is multiple crushed up leaves, just like the holly leaf ribbon, and then the little yellow stripes in it are a mix of the ground up reindeer antler white and a little bit of Arctic tulip. You're not familiar with Arctic tulip? Oh, are you not familiar with the legend of our own reindeer Rudolph? You are. Okay, so do you recall when Rudolph and Hermie and Yukon Cornelius were staying in their adorable little B&B and the tulips were blooming in the window box? Yes, those are Arctic tulips because, of course, regular tulips would be frozen in the below zero temperatures up here at the North Pole. Those are specially bred tulips that will withstand the cold temperatures. So we mix the ground up reindeer horn with a little bit of the petals from some of those Arctic tulips, and it gives us those lovely yellow lines throughout this ribbon. You'd like to make that one as well? Okay, great. Let's see. Red plaid. Okay, this one is kind of an interesting design. I don't know how familiar you are with human culture. You know a little bit? Okay, well this one features what the humans call cars, or trucks and vans rather, which are automobiles. They're moving vehicles. And so this one here is a pickup truck, and this one here is a Volkswagen bus. They were very popular during the 60s. And so this is just a little scene of the humans taking home Christmas trees in the Christmas tree lot and driving home with little gifts. So this one is woven of fox fur and dyed this kind of cream color with the ground up reindeer antler dye. And then the green is, of course, the ground up leaves. And the red is the berry dye, but it's also mixed in with just a little bit of Arctic tulip dye to lighten it, so it's not quite the vivid red of just using the straight berry dye, which gives it kind of a more muted tone. And then the gold, the sparkly gold, is provided by harvesting midnight icicles under the full moon. And when you paint with those, it gives that lovely gold sparkle that simply can't be gotten with any other material. What do you think of that one? You're afraid of midnight icicles? Oh, you have icicleophobia. Okay, well then that's probably not a good one for you to be making. And let's see what else we can do. You do need one more because you need 5 in order to qualify as a ribbon maker. So let's try this one. This one's kind of a simple muted ribbon, kind of a sagey green with little creamy snowflakes on it. And this one is another snowy owl feather weave. So this one is woven from the feathers of the snowy owl. And this one has a very interesting technique used to make it. The little snowflakes are the color that the ribbon actually is during the weaving. And what we have you do is you take a little stamp and you dip it in some hot wax, and then you stamp the little snowflakes all over the ribbon, which you will not be able to see at the time because the wax just kind of blends into the color of the ribbon. But then you will take the entire ribbon and dip it into a vat of green dye. And this particular little sagey dye is made by grinding up the leaves of various plants and then mixed with a little bit of the ground up caribou antler. And that's what gives it kind of that lighter green color as opposed to that vibrant green on some of the other ribbons. And so when you pull it back out of the dye bath, every place that you stamped those snowflakes refuses to take the dye, and that's why you still get to see the original color of the ribbon in the form of snowflakes. That sounds like a lot of fun to you? Okay, great. And we'll just stick this one over in your sample pile as well and put you down for the green snowflake ribbon as well. Okay, so you have chosen 5 ribbons that you would like to be making. That does qualify you for a position in the workshop. However, before you are able to accept that position, you will have to take the paper making seminar, which will tell you all about how to make the various types of paper and what is acceptable depending on where the gift is going and things like that. There's a lot of nuances in that. Is it possible to just be a ribbon maker? It is, but the pay is significantly lower. You're fine with that? Okay, in that case, yes, we can sign you up as strictly a ribbon maker, okay? Okay, when would you like to start? Next week? Okay, I think that can be arranged. And will you be staying on site at the job, or do you have your own igloo somewhere? You'd like accommodations. Okay, no problem. Okay, well, how about we say that you start Monday morning, which of course is still evening this time of year, but you know what I mean, North Pole humor. Yes, how about you start Monday morning, and you can start mass producing these ribbons this weekend. Why don't we arrange a meeting so that I can show you where you'll be needing to find all of the materials to make them, the best place to look for the antlers and the fox fur and the polar bear fur and the seal oil and all of that. How does Saturday at 7 sound? It'll be under the full moon, so it'll be kind of easy to find all the pieces that we need. Sounds perfect? Okay, great. All right, very good then. I will see you Monday at 7 for your identification walkthrough. So you can identify everything you need, and then Monday morning you can begin making all the ribbons, okay? Thank you for applying to the North Pole, and we wish you many wonderful years of success.